Today's lesson is the 3 stages of water: liquid, solid, and gas. We'll be using the Iowa Core Standard SK2PS2. Essential concepts and or skills, understanding and applying, knowledge of characteristics and of liquids and solids. Materials can exist in different states: solid, liquid, and gas. Common materials such as water can be changed from one state to another by heating or cooling. We will discuss the different stages and the water molecules it can take. Stage 1 is liquid, Stage 2 is the solid, and Stage 3 will be a gas. The 3 stages, liquid, solid, and gas, are represented here below. Stage 1, we have liquid, or water form. The liquid stage of water is very unique, as it can take any shape and size of its container. Stage 2 is solid. Here we have ice cubes. To get to that stage, water has to reach a very cold temperature. In Stage 3, we have gas. For water to become a gas state, it has to be applied to heat, or a hot temperature. Liquid. As I mentioned just now, liquid is very unique. When water is in its liquid state, it can take any form and shape that it chooses. Here we have a demonstration of a raindrop. The raindrop is very unique. It can be in all different shapes and sizes. Sometimes we have small raindrops. Sometimes we have big raindrops. The molecules inside each raindrop vary. For a small raindrop, we have this diagram here, all together inside this dot. For a big one, we have many molecules of water. Each molecule is represented by 2 properties. We have 2 hydrogen properties, and we have 1 property of oxygen, H2O. Each drop of water has thousands of these single molecules inside of it. For water, the molecules are very close together, as you see in this diagram. The molecules are close, forming its liquid base. Now, for the next stage, solid, you'll see something very different. For solid, like I mentioned before, it takes the shape of whatever it is in when it freezes. For water to become frozen, it must reach 32 degrees. Once it reaches that state, the molecules begin to tighten up, as you see in this diagram. The molecules become very close together, making the water become very strict and very tight. The molecules, now scrunched together, have gone from a free-flowing object to a solid mass, like here. You have a gigantic square container that the water was held in, and once it hit 32 degrees or lower, the molecules began to constrict and tighten and form our solid mass. Now, for gas, we have a very similar property, but instead of cooling, we have heating. For our gas, we have our molecules, as we see here. Now, before it goes into a gas, it's very similar to the liquid state. Our molecules are very close together. Like here, as you see in this bowl of water. But once we apply heat to this pan of water, our molecules begin to separate and distance themselves away from one another. They continue to grow apart. Once water hits 212 degrees, the water molecules begin to escape. The water molecules begin to explode. So we have one molecule here, and it goes from the group of molecules that it was in and takes a huge upward trajectory and escapes from the pan. Now, free-flowing in the air, this molecule is no longer a liquid or a solid. It is now a gas or a water vapor. Water is very unique. It is one of very few properties in the world that can go from a liquid, a gas, and a solid substance in different stages. It is also unique in how its molecules and its form take different shapes, meaning that 2 of the 3 forms that it takes, the water will become whatever object it is in. When it is in gas form, like I mentioned before, it is in a gas state and does not take a shape. Water is very interesting and unique. Like I mentioned, it's one of the very few properties that can go in 3 different categories.